Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, what you know about bench mob? They're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. They clearing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow. We know.
All right, welcome back for another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast. Shout out to all of our listeners, our subscribers, YouTube viewers. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate y'all. We would not be where we are at without you guys. But today we have another guest. We have Alexandria Kerr. Thank you so much for hopping on. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, of course. We've been trying to get more female guests on the show. So soon as Jewel presented the opportunity, shout out to Worldwide Bino for the connect.
Shout out to Worldwide Bino.
Shout out to Worldwide Bino for the connect. We were able, I'm like, of course, I would love to have her on. So it was perfect. But before we start, I'm going to read the bio. Let Greg know. I know about you. I've seen you play a couple of times, but I'm going to read it for our listeners and our viewers. Started all 110 games over your 4-year career. You finished 9th all-time in scoring with 1,500 career points, 8th all-time in rebounding with 814 points, 814 rebounds, finished tied for 6th with 346 career free throws. But before we even finish, you not only was a beast on the court, you did what you're supposed to do in the classroom. Co-SIDA Academic All-District First Team. Named Academic All-Northeast 10 for the 3rd consecutive year. This is who we have on our show today, y'all. This is the guest we have. What inspired this aspect? Like, we don't see that all the time, the athletic aspect and the academics together. Like, was that always something that, was ingrained in you, that your parents, or what was it that, hey, you excelled in the classroom and on the court?
Definitely was instilled by my parents. They always, promoted academics first. So I knew that academics was the key to getting me to where I wanted to be. Opportunities, athletics, anyone can get hurt, anyone can get injured. There's going to be people who are just naturally physically stronger than you and faster than you. But, if you really try and you really study to achieve like what you need to do in the classroom, you can get it done. So I knew academics was, if it wasn't basketball, I always had academics to, be my number one. So
what did you actually major in?
I got my bachelor's in accounting and my master's in taxation.
And you got that like the year right after you graduated, you got your master's, right?
I did a 3+1. So I graduated with my bachelor's in 3 and I got my master's in my 4th year.
Okay. So I want to take it back a little bit before we even talk about the college career. You went to Montclair High.
Yeah.
You excelled at Montclair High. When did the love for basketball start for you?
So I would say in middle school, after my parents got divorced, they separated, and I was just looking to be a part of something. I used to really love soccer, and then I got cut in middle school, in 6th grade from the team. I actually beat the coach's daughter, and they told me to come try out. I was new, and I went and tried out, and they cut me. So I went to a Catholic school that was in the town, and they gave me a chance. Now, I wasn't the best at the time, I wasn't all that. So they gave me the opportunity, and by like the second year, I ended up starting. I really worked hard. Um, so that's, I would say my love really started from St. Anne's Middle School, which is in Fairlawn, but I think that they closed. But that's where my love really started. It was so much fun playing in middle school.
So we're talking like 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade?
Yeah, sixth grade I started playing. I wasn't starting at that point, but by seventh grade I played a year of AAU, and that's when I started to actually like kind of, take off in basketball.
Hey, Greg, so this is our second guest that we have that started late and
Right.
is a beast, like
Yeah.
middle school.
I was
Started,
about to say. I was about to say. I mean, and it's so crazy because like it always starts with like this childlike love for the game, right? You gotta love it, you gotta itch to want to do it, and then at some point you start taking it seriously, and it goes to the next level, right? So you mentioned you played AAU that spring, I guess, going into your 7th grade year, right?
Yes.
So that's a pretty quick turnaround for someone to start taking it pretty seriously, right? Like playing AAU, and maybe, and I'd like to get a clear idea of that too. Like, so when did that change for you? Like, when did you get to a point where you were like, all right, like I love doing this. I'm gonna take it seriously. I'm gonna work out and really start putting grinding to get to where I want to go with this.
I think that I just started to be in the gym more often. AAU was a different level. So I just naturally, just by being in the gym more, I got better. I had in sixth grade, I played on 3 different soccer teams actually, and I took soccer way like more serious, but I improved way faster in basketball. It took that season just being there more often, and then I realized that like I could do something more with this. So I stopped playing soccer and took basketball way more serious. And it just went on from there. Just loving being in the gym. That was my escape. Anytime I felt down, I went to the gym. I went to go play. It didn't matter how long, how many hours.
that gives me a lot of remembrance of, rest in peace to Kobe, of him and his documentary, how he said that was his sanctuary. No matter what was going on in his life, if he could get to the court, he was good. So that is very reminiscent of that. At what point did you feel that, all right, I can actually play college ball? And as I know, as our followers don't know, you actually went pro. You signed last year in Spain, I believe, correct?
Yes.
So at what point did you know that, all right, I can actually play college ball, and then the opportunity to play pro also?
So my sophomore year of high school, at this point, I had only went to Montclair for my last 2 years, my junior and senior. I actually started at Fairlawn High School, and I ended up being sophomore of the year there. I thought, I was going to UConn. Like I thought I was going to UConn and this, and that. And then I went to Montclair, and I played with high level talent, like real high level talent. On our team was a girl named Maisha Hines Allens that plays for the Washington Mystics right now. So that was when I really got exposed to what was really out there. So I knew I could keep up. I definitely was behind skill wise. There was stuff I just didn't even know. I didn't even know that there was that type of competition out there. Then I went from playing in a different kind of division to going to playing against like Shabazz, going to play against East Orange. I'm playing against, Mount St. Dominic. So at that point, I still did well. I did numbers, I got boards. That thing was more hustle and muscle. So I knew that if I just kept working hard, that an opportunity would present itself. So I would say I always believed that I could go to school for free for basketball. But it was just a matter of how much effort I put into it.
Now you went to New Haven. What was that process? What was your recruitment process like? Could there have been any other school outside of New Haven? I know you just mentioned you always had the mindset that it would be a possibility you can make it happen to go college ball. were D1 schools really your goal, or you just wanted to play college ball, period?
100% D1 was my goal. I wanted to go D1. I wanted to go as high as possible. But it just, I wasn't where I needed to be. So when I told you, like, when I moved to Montclair and I was exposed to all this different talent, I hadn't even taken a three-pointer until my senior year of high school. Like, or made a three-pointer. I was a post player my freshman and junior year. So when I went to Montclair, they turned me into a guard. So at this point, I'm starting off fresh. I'm starting off now. I'm starting off as a junior now, just starting to play guard. So, that AAU season, that off season of my junior year, I was in the gym for 6 hours after school, from 3 to 9, trying to get the skill to become a guard that would actually be able to be recruited. Because at that point, my high school coach said I wasn't even really good enough to play D3. So it was just a matter of getting in the gym and just working as hard as possible. So my senior year, the first game of my senior year was when I first hit a three-pointer, and I ended up going 40% from the three-point line my senior year. And I got recruited by University of New Haven, and I had other schools. I received letters from a couple D1 schools, Bucknell, I think like University of Maine or something like that, but they were just letters. They weren't, they were just like interests, like as if I was like, probably like the 20th person on their list that they actually just sent a letter to. It never got farther than that. A lot of these 3 schools wanted me. Stevens Institute of Technology, I actually visited, which is a academic school. When I realized, I might not have the offers that I thought I was going to have, I was like, why not go and get a great education? So I went to Stevens Institute of Technology and saw what it was like there. But my 2 offers was from Caldwell. It was Caldwell College at the time. Now I'm pretty sure Caldwell University.
Yeah.
And University of New Haven. Caldwell College was right up the street from Montclair. It was so close. I mean, on my visit, they took me to Willowbrook Mall, which I knew Willowbrook Mall better than the girls who were from Massachusetts. These girls are from Massachusetts showing me the Willowbrook Mall. I was like, okay. But then when I went to New Haven, it was a whole different experience, a different state. I was, far enough away from my family, but close enough. And they offered great programs. So I ended up choosing University of New Haven the beginning of my senior year. By the grace of God, I got that offer, and I accepted it. It was a great decision.
Well, there was a stat that you read off when we first started the podcast that jumped off the screen to me. You said finished 8th all time in school history at New Haven with 814 rebounds, and you're 5'8". And so I'm just like, I heard that, I was like, wait, what? Like that's insane. That's a crazy accomplishment. Like, it really is. It's underrated. Obviously, it makes a little sense when you talk about your background being in the post, earlier on in your career. But like, where does that kind of hustle come from? Because that a lot of players don't have that, right? Like guards especially don't have this. So it makes sense that, you were in that position where you were in the post before, but that still came from somewhere. That kind of grit, that kind of heart. It takes heart to get 814 rebounds at 5'8" at a collegiate level, right? So where does that come from? What do you think?
It definitely just came from, first of all, my dad, told me if I wanted to get playing time, now I'm going back to middle school. When I wasn't starting, I wasn't getting that much time, but I wanted to play. He told me, you need to hustle. You need to run the floor. You need to play defense, and you need to get rebounds. So I made that like my bread and butter. Like I was going to get rebounds. I was going to run the floor, and I was going to play defense. So I would get my points off of, if nothing, I would get my points off of defensive steals, in fast break and transition, and off of rebounds, offensive rebounds. So, if you have the ball in your hand, it's just more of a chance to score. So that kind of stayed with me because I ended up playing post. Mind you, I started in the post even my freshman and sophomore year of high school on the varsity team. So I kept that even when I was with a guard. It never really left me. I'm still transitioning into being a natural guard. It's actually something that I struggle with. But over the years, I got better at. So as for rebounding, that's just wanting the ball in your hands, and I want the ball in my hands.
Those for the ball. That all great rebounders have that in common. So Kevin Love said when they asked him how he's such a good rebound. Of course, he's 6'10", so it's just you're not rebounds what you're doing.
Right, right.
I want to ask this because I know you were telling me that we had to push back the start time because you had Bible study. You just mentioned earlier. I want to go back to that. You said by the grace of God, you got that offer. How much in your career from middle school to high school to college to being a pro has faith factored in your success?
Faith has been everything to get me to where I am. I don't know if I would have been the person I am if it wasn't for my relationship with God. I definitely would not be the person I am today. I would have been a completely different person. I would have been able to give in to my sinful nature, and I wouldn't be the loving person that I am. I would have just taken what the world gave me and turned it into that and harvested that. It gave me the hope to keep going. So no matter what came at me, and a bunch of stuff came at me, as does in everybody's life. No matter what came at me, I knew that I had God, and that no matter what was happening in the world, that if I stayed, faithful, that I would be okay. And now I'm studying the Bible to get baptized. Before I didn't really understand as much. I would just go to church. People around me talked about it, my family. And I went to college, didn't really go to church as much, but I still, believed in God and still, prayed here and there when I felt like I needed Him. But as I got older and I saw how much I really did need Him in my everyday life, just by being out in the world, going to Spain, seeing how you lose people in your life, how I needed Him actively in my day-to-day life. So now I'm taking it to a different level and really trying to get a closer connection with Him.
That's dope. Especially the important part of realizing how much you need Him on a daily basis, an everyday thing. It's not, just for the good things or when bad things happen. You realize that. With you saying that, and you mentioned how you're such a loving person, is that like the reasoning why behind you are big on activism and speaking up on social justice? Because I've seen, going back to Montclair, there's articles written about some of the protests that went down in Montclair, and you were the face of it, and you spoke there. How was that for you, and what inspired you to do so? Because a lot of us can see what's going on, but a lot of us won't go into the forefront. A lot of us won't lead the charge. You actually led the charge. So what inspired you to do so?
Well, I would say that I just felt like anybody who saw what had happened with the George Floyd murder would have been moved in some type of way, and I was moved. I was angry. I was hurt. I was scared, knowing that my dad could be something. The same thing could have happened to my dad. Sorry. So just knowing that something like that could have happened to my dad, I was angry and scared. He could have gone to the store, and and he's an amazing man. That that could have happened to him for no reason. And the fact that it did happen to somebody so gruesome on TV. This happens when cameras on and cameras off. And I was restless. I mean, I was restless. I did not sleep. I wanted to do something. I had asked my dad, hey, I just got back from Spain, quarantine. They sent me home. Or actually I had to go home. I asked to leave because I was like, I can't be here anymore. Got home, thing with George Floyd happened. I asked my dad, hey, can I go protest in Newark? And my dad was like, no, you can't go protest in Newark. He says, those are, the protests are violent. And I was like, no, like, I need to go. Like, I had people, my friends are going, my friends are calling me like, yo, like, you going to this and that. And I'm like, no, I can't go. My dad's saying no. They're like, yo, you gotta go. And I was like, I can't. I gotta listen to my dad. I live in my dad's house. I don't disobey my dad. I love my dad. I don't disobey him. So he called me down later that night and said, look at these protests. You think that's peaceful? And obviously on the news, they're showing the worst that they can. That's how the news goes and portrays it. But in Newark, they actually accomplished a peaceful protest. So more restless nights, doing the dishes. I felt like I was a walking zombie at that point, just being consumed with it, not being able to do anything. And at one point I just told my dad, I was like, look, like, I gotta go. Like, I'm going to go and I'm gonna protest. And my friend called me from Montclair. Her name's Maxie Lope. She was actually the co-founder in the organization that I started from the protest. Like, we started our own organization when we started organizing that. She called me, she's like, yo, I want to do something too. Like, I want to do something too. And like, I want to plan a protest. And that's how we started. She called me up and I was like, yo, I'm going to do it. I told my dad, I was like, I'm sorry. He came upstairs. He was not happy with me because he's afraid. He doesn't want me to go out there and get hurt. People getting, shot rubber bullets in the face, peaceful protests, and I said that, I just told him, I was like, it's something that I have to do. And I did it. And after that, he supported everything I did. So even the speech that I gave had biblical references in it, because I really believe we all did, try and be more like Jesus, or, do the things that it actually teaches in the Bible. Like, we really, the issues wouldn't be where they are if we did really just break down and love each other, no matter who's hurt you or what, to really let your guard down and love each other. These things like this wouldn't happen. But that's a perfect world, right? And we don't live in that now.
No, go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say, no, like, I have two questions, honestly, but I'll ask. You know what? I'm gonna ask one that's tied into your faith too, because I think it's really, dope, and amazing.
You keep saying dope. I'm wearing my God is dope shirt, but it says black. it says Black Women's Matter on it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can't really see it, but it does.
I can't see the print, but I see the God, which is the most important part.
It says God, but it says in a way it says Black Women Matter.
That's so dope. That's so dope. I was gonna ask, right? Like, I know from personal experience, when these crazy things happen, when George Floyd happens, when Tamir Rice happens, when what happened on Capitol Hill happens last week, I can go to a dark place mentally. Like, this is for me, right? How does your faith, and I think that can happen to a lot of people, but how does your faith play a role in keeping you even keel and keeping you centered during times like that, right? Because, like, it's hard to watch it. It's traumatizing on TV, seeing Black people dead in the streets, seeing an angry mob of white people storming the Capitol because they want to take us back to a dark place as a country, right? So, how do you stay even keel, and what's that process for you, from a faith perspective, and then how you internalize everything?
Well, I have to, it's not easy, honestly. It's really not easy to keep your composure. It's just, you see that and you want to yell, you want to be heard. You want to, go break a window, or, but, that's not, what peace is that bringing? That's just causing more noise. So, I just, knowing that I have to speak with a clear head, knowing that if I'm angry and I, speak angrily and, start accusing other people of bad things, or just, just pointing the finger at other people, you're losing your audience. And really you're losing the people that you need to hear this the most, so those people who are trying to, overthrow the country and, storm the Capitol and those are the people that need to hear what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? So if you completely lose your audience when you start attacking them. Not that I'm saying they need to be coddled or whatever. And some people won't listen. Some people won't listen. I'm saying I'm pretty sure the people at the Capitol storm, the Capitol weren't going to listen anyways.
They may be past saving.
And they and they haven't. So it's really the people who, talking to the people who want to listen. So, I knew that the audience that I was going to talk to, which it was an amazing environment, that I wanted to, say something that was going to change people's hearts, or, something that actually, was thoughtful and was going to stick with people, not just in this situation, but in all situations where there's injustices, not just racial injustice, but all injustices. So
I think something that's definitely needed with that, as you said, is the love aspect. In a perfect world, of course, if everybody loved how God says to love and love your neighbor as you love yourself, we wouldn't have these problems. But loving somebody is not per se the easiest thing to do. It's easier to show hate. It's easier not to forgive. It's easier to handle things with anger and without a clear head. Something you said that's so important says in the Bible, a soft word turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So you have to be level-headed. You have to be clear. You have to be smart in your approach of how you go about it. You have to have wisdom from God to do so. So I think that's key. I think that's important. I can speak for me. I know with everything that goes on in my life, with social injustice, with just life's trials, that's the only thing that keeps me grounded is my faith. That's the only thing that keeps me grounded. Transitioning, talking about you going pro. So you're going through your college career. You get to your senior year. What was that process? Because I know I see the smile, I see the jubilation on your face.
Mm-hmm.
How was that process? Like, how did that come about? You going pro and to Spain at that too?
Well, honestly, I had no idea that that was what I was going to do. So if you had asked me my junior year of college, like what I was going to do, I was like, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to go into accounting. I got an internship at Deloitte, and it wasn't what I had expected. It was a lot harder than I expected, and I don't think I was ready for it in more ways than one. So after that experience, I was like, I'm gonna go play basketball. Like there's no, like, I'm here, but I want to go play. I want to continue to play. So I just decided that, instead of starting my career right after school, that I would try and pursue a professional career in basketball. Now that's, not so easy being a Division II player. How there's a bunch of Division I players that they'll come first. You get someone from overseas, they see your profile and they see a Division I player with similar stats and a Division II player with similar stats. They're gonna probably go for the Division I players. So I luckily got help from an amazing coaching staff. My senior year, we got a new coaching staff. Her name is Deborah Buff. The head coach, Coach Brandow, was our GA, and they both helped me so much with getting overseas, and yeah, I got an offer. Another by the grace of God. It was just, it was barely I think it was barely maybe a week before, like a week after they said, if you don't have an offer by this time, you might as well give up. And Coach Bauer was our assistant coach, and he made my highlights. So they all chipped in so much. But I got the offer to go like after they said, like, oh, if you don't get an offer by this point, you got to give up. And that's when I got on my knees and started praying. And it wasn't until I got on my knees and started praying real late that I got an offer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I want to ask a question here too. I mean, this is crazy. It's an amazing story, right? Like, and we talked about how you've dealt with the doubt, because I'm sure there was plenty of doubt, right, on the road. That's just the natural part of it. If you had to sum up your game in a couple sentences, like, what would you say people would see? If I watch the film, what am I going to walk away thinking about Alexandria Kerr?
You probably think that I hustle and I go hard. I play a lot of minutes, um, and that I have a lot of heart. So I'm gonna get to the basket. I'm gonna rebound and I'm gonna play defense. I don't have much, super flashy finesse to my game, which I would love to add in, and I'm still trying to add in. Um, but you would definitely think that I hustle and I go hard. I'm gonna get a rebound. It's fun to watch because I'm giving everything that I can for it.
Would
Hey,
you say, see, I have mad two-part questions, bro. I was gonna say, would you say that parallels the way you live your life? Like, would you say the way you play basketball is the way, you know, is it like parallel to the way like you are as a human being off the court?
Yes, again, bring back to my faith. I think God gives me these opportunities, and I have to give 100% to everything that I do. And I try to go along with that mentality every day. It's not easy because you're gonna fall at points. It's inevitable. It's life. At some points you're gonna get down. Um, but it is about just getting back up and going as hard as possible. So yeah, I believe that in everything I do. Also, I take my last name seriously. My dad has been huge in my life. I have his last name, so he's gotten me in situations. He's had my back always, in situations where I didn't really have anybody else, and he's definitely had my back. And I have his last name, so I'm trying to make him proud as well. So yeah, I do think that there's a parallel between my basketball game and the way I live my life as well, for sure.
that's that. We keep saying it, but that's dope. You don't hear that many people have that mindset of the last name. I want to make sure I'm doing something with this last name. It means something to me. A lot of people don't have that mindset. And speaking of legacy and speaking of making their parents proud by having that last name, what is the current situation now? You mentioned that you came back because of COVID, which is a valid reason. With everything going on, I don't even know, can't even imagine what it was like in another country having to go through that. What is the current situation for you? Are you still training? Looking to go back at any point? What's your current situation?
So I'm currently working as a tax accountant, um, and it's tax season. So that's why it was so hard to figure out time to get on the show because I'm working close to 60 hours a week.
Mm.
A minimum of 10 hours and then an hour for lunch. So I'm in the office at a minimum of 11 hours, but many days you can go over. And then you work Saturdays as well, 9 to 4. So, and that's the minimum. So I'm in tax season right now. I'm still training, which is really hard because 60 hours is a job and a half, right? So I'm still training as best as I can. I mean, I went to the gym today. I lifted. I can't do as much as I was doing before. I can't. It's not physically possible for me, and it's frustrating. I won't be able to lift this heavy. My body can't handle it. I don't have enough time to recover, enough sleep to recover. I went to the gym for the first time because tax season started a week ago, so I took a week off. For that, the gym was closed due to the holidays and with COVID and things like that. So I went for the first time after a week of tax season of 60 hours, not touching a basketball for a little while. I went and I was rusty. My body couldn't do what I wanted to do. I didn't have control of the ball like I would have liked to have control of the ball. So I was really discouraged. Really, really, really discouraged about it. I had to, pray on it. Just know that like just leaving the past, and it was just me getting my rust off. I'm gonna have to get used to it and adjust, and I'm not gonna be able to do, what I was doing before. I was working a full-time job and overtime hours. Um, so it's just about mental, just, staying in the gym. And I know that when tax season is over, because it does end April 15th is the deadline for taxes. When it's over and I will get my rest and, I'll be back to where I was before. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I do want to go back overseas. What had happened was the team had offered me back. I had, said like I was pending on it. Like I wanted to see my other options. I didn't get any other options due to COVID. So I ended up not going back to that team. They had offered somebody else, and I ended up not having a team to go back to. And as much as I want to be down about it, because it's hard, this is my first year. I think in April or maybe end of March will be a whole year without basketball. This will be a whole year for the first time. And then I can remember that I haven't been on a basketball team. I do believe that, I still have an opportunity to go back. And if not, that God has a different plan for me, that I'm going to have to establish myself here. I could become, a coach. I could still be involved, maybe play in women's leagues or whatever. I still love the game, so I'm going to still stay involved. But I pray that I do get to go back for sure.
What's your thoughts on women's basketball right now? Like, you actually went pro, you went overseas. We know that the pay and the treatment actually just across the board when it comes to women's basketball in the United States is not really up to par as where it should be. What are your thoughts on women's basketball, and do you think it changes in your lifetime?
Women's basketball is completely underrated. We have a lot of skill. We play hard and fundamentally sound. As for guys, people want to see people dunking. People want to see all these fancy different things that the guys can do because they're athletically able. But what's happening now is I see more and more girls starting to dunk. More and more girls are dunking in games, throwing alley-oops. I just saw an alley-oop the other day. So we're going to gain our respect. It's just a matter of time. And we've already, earned it. It's just about people recognizing that. But it's definitely underrated. And I think that has to do with, the, menace type of mentality, there's guys who just think, women are just not as good, not as intelligent, not as strong. But I actually started lifting, doing slight powerlifting, not actually going for heavy weight, but just the form. So like I'll squat deeper than I was when I was in college and stuff like that. And one of the girls said, like, I'm going to lift just as much as that guy. And the guy over there was lifting like 500 pounds. He was deadlifting 500 pounds. And she said, women's legs are actually stronger than men's legs. I don't know if that's true. She just said that. I have no fact check. I never thought of it like that. I never compared men's legs to women's legs before. But she said, confidently that women's legs are stronger than men's legs. I know women who are just as intelligent. So it's just about, people seeing it and recognizing it. And it's coming, like, already there's so many barriers that have been broken with women's basketball. And although we're not getting the recognition, we have that gratification that we love the game and we're going to play, whether the fans or the people, realize that or not. We love the game and we're going to keep playing. So,
do you have any aspirations at any point to maybe try to play at home, to play in the WNBA?
I would love to play in the WNBA. It's a dream. If I could get a tryout, I would go to the tryout. I would give everything I have just to say, I did it. Because I'm going to give everything I have until I can't do it anymore, until everybody shuts the doors and there's no more doors to open. That's what I'm going to try and do. So if I was ever, to get a tryout, if that's in the path for me, yeah, of course I would try and play at home.
Your story definitely in that mindset is truly inspirational for anybody, I'm sure, that's watching this. I know I'm inspired by it. I know Greg, I know you're inspired by it, because hearing that, it just makes you want to go play ball right now. It just makes you want to be like, I still got a little left in the tank. I still could try it. So I really think that's inspirational. I don't know. We're going to have to check it out on if women's legs are stronger than men's legs. We'll put it on.
You should fact check that. Fact check that and have me back on the show.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We'll have you back.
Fact check everything I say, and then have me back on the show and let me know the real facts, okay?
Yeah, by the way, full circle moment here. I've actually, and this is probably through Instagram. I follow Pascal. He has his little the fitness program he runs, which is really dope.
Yo,
And actually,
Pac-Man Fitness, Pac-Man
there you
Fitness. I give
go.
him a shout out, Pac-Man Fitness. Okay.
Shout him out. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Because I've known him since I was in 7th grade. It's been a long time. And I saw that he always works out with you. Like you're one of his main clients that he works with. So I've seen the hard work a long time ago. When he told me that we were gonna have you on the show, I was like, oh, I've seen her before. Like I knew, because it didn't click until like right before we got on. I was like, that's where I remember her from. Like, yeah, like I see her work grinding, like you're going hard. So that's really, really dope. I didn't know you were playing professionally, so I did a little more digging. That is amazing. Like your story really is inspirational, and for anybody that's listening right now, like I just hope they can take that grit. Because I get the word that I would use is to describe your story is grit and faith, obviously, right? Like those two words are incredible. So I mean, thank you so much. I mean, we're not done, but thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your story.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you. I'm really honored, for sure.
Especially the 60, 65-hour work weeks.
Damn.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's 20 hours overtime. To put it into perspective, like that's putting like 20 hours overtime.
Are you going into your office every day, or are you remote?
I'm going into the office, yes, but we have COVID, requirements and precautionary measures. Like I don't have, we stay a cubicle apart. Everybody's got to wear masks. We get our temperature taken.
The whole nine.
Yeah, the whole nine.
Yeah.
I tell you, I don't miss it. I was doing 70 hours at Hertz. I don't miss it.
I know you don't. I know you don't. If I'm doing 60 and my eye hasn't stopped twitching, I don't know what was happening to you when you were working 70 hours. I have no idea.
Well, let me ask you a question though. So you're doing 60-hour work weeks right now, working as an accountant, right? It's tax season. Is this what you want to do, like long term, or where do you see yourself going professionally, like outside of basketball? Like, what's next professionally for you?
I would love to own my own business at some point in my life. I would love to, some type of consulting, idea growth, like life coaching. You say my story is inspirational, but I do really want to inspire other people. I do want to show people that there's a different way, and that, that your dreams are possible. Anything you want to do, it's possible, to be encouraged about it. And then maybe becoming a professor or some type of teacher and coach. I like to teach. I tutored at University of New Haven as well. And so I would definitely like to become a professor at some point and teach. And that would give me the ability to interact with people on a different level. So for sure.
Oh, bright future ahead, whether it's in basketball professionally. That's one thing for sure. So you don't lack options.
That's guaranteed. Last thing before we transition to With the Quickness segment, what is one piece of advice you would give to a young athlete, specifically female, trying to pursue her dream? What's one piece of advice you would give her?
Just to never give up. Don't give up. It's possible. Go do it. Don't think your dream is too big. Don't be ashamed to say, oh yeah, like, I'll play in the WNBA. Don't let anybody shut you off from that. People will definitely try and undermine your dreams, especially as a young female, young woman. People are going to try and undermine your dreams. Oh, you can't do that, but you can do it, and it is possible. So I would just say, don't give up. Just keep going.
For sure. I think, Greg, tell me if you agree. I think the title for this episode is "All I Do Is Grind and Pray."
Hey, bro, that's a good one. I like that. I like that. It's fitting.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what I got from that conversation right there. So
do it. I would like that.
Got it. So with the quickness segment. So this segment, we're going to ask you basically some rapid fire questions. Whatever comes to your head, the quickest answer. If you're nervous, it's going to be a hot take. It's fine. It's cool. Let it be a hot take. It's your opinion. Let me know. You ready for With the Quickness?
Well,
yeah, I'm ready.
Before we jump into that, I want to call Audible real quick because I'm just curious about something. So are you, and I'm going to get to the question you think I'm going to ask, Tone. I promise you. I'm going to ask her. But Are you a fan of the NBA? Like, are you invested? Like how much are you watching NBA basketball, WNBA basketball?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the NBA. I just don't watch TV. I
Okay.
do not watch TV. I don't watch Netflix. I don't watch TV. If the game is on, like, I'm with people and they're watching the game, I'll watch the game. If I see when I do end up getting on my phone and get on social media, I'll watch the highlights and things like that, of course. But no, I also like to use my free time when I do have free time just to be around my family and people that I love and so on and so forth. So I'm not an avid watcher. Like, I gotta watch the game tonight. No, I would say no. But that doesn't have anything to go for my love for basketball. I still really love basketball, and it makes me really happy.
And that gets my point. So I think your take on this will still be very, very insightful. So you're a professional basketball player, right? Like, amazing accomplishment. So your take on this is great. Have you heard about what's happening with Kyrie Irving, right? Like, him not being at games. Like, have you heard about that?
No, I haven't heard. I also don't really go on social media, so sometimes I'm really out of the loop.
I'm gonna give you the rundown, right?
Okay, give me the run.
After Capitol happened on Capitol Hill, Kyrie Irving he just stopped showing up for work, right? Like, told the Nets that he has to be out for personal reasons. He told them what it actually is, what's going on. That's what is being reported to some people. But he's not showing up to work. He hasn't been he's missed 5 straight games now. I think it is 5 straight games. So my thing is, like, as a professional basketball player, right? We're speculating. We don't know what it is. We don't know why he's out. It could be anything. But do you think that's acceptable, right? As a professional basketball player, someone who, you make a living playing ball, like, you made a living playing basketball. How do you feel about that? Like, how do you think that people should interpret that? Because that's going to be a hot topic we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I just wanted to
completely acceptable. I think that's completely acceptable. He's a human first, before basketball player, before anything else. He's got personal things to go on. Mental health, it could be anything. If there's something that he also wants to go after and chase, who's to say you're just a basketball player? That's been a huge issue. Oh, that shut up and play basketball type of thing. No, I'm not just a basketball player. I'm a human being. I think too. I also have an intellect. So I don't know what Kyrie Irving is doing, but I'm here for it. I want to know what it is. So if it's something positive, I'm here for it. If it's something that he needs to do for mental health, like, who is to tell him what to do? Really? If he doesn't want to go to the games, he doesn't have to go to the game. I'm not paying him. So yeah, I do believe, like, people have their own lives too. You can't really judge or tell anybody how to live their life, no matter what. So.
Well, I appreciate that input. We're gonna have to run that
I
back.
hope I supported your views and
you did.
You see the hat. You see what it is. Like,
quote me on it.
Got you. Yeah, it's been real spicy in the chat for the last week or so with different viewpoints on the situation. I think we'll all be looking forward to what exactly is going on. And again, most importantly, like, mental health, your family, those things. If the thing with the Capitol, with the story,
call for justice. Sometimes you got to take a step away and do what's right, do the right thing.
So I think if, once the information comes out, once Kyrie speaks and he says any of those things is the reason why, I don't think anybody in their right mind should have a problem with that, honestly. If that comes out as that's the reason. But what's your go-to meal?
Excuse me?
What's your go-to meal?
My go-to what?
Meal. What's Alexandra's favorite thing to eat?
Oh, meal. My go-to meal? Oh my gosh. That's a horrible question because I eat everything. Like, you put anything in front of me, like, I'll pretty much eat it. Like, it's actually a problem. I've been trained. My dad eats everything. So, but if I'm cooking, like, I now have to meal prep, I'm cooking chicken, broccoli, and either pasta or rice.
If you aren't meal prepping, it's cheat day. What you eating?
If I'm not meal prepping and it's cheat day, what am I eating? I would say, like, so I like Chinese food. I like Spanish food. All right, Spanish food first, above all. I love Spanish food. But when I tell you, like, I love and enjoy pretty much almost every meal. Like, people like, they're like, I don't even know why you think this tastes good. I'm like, oh yeah, this is so good. So,
Well,
like, I think everybody's cooking is pretty good.
Tone's trying to throw me an alley-oop here, so I'll take over from here.
Okay.
You like everything. Have you had the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich?
The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
I think so. Isn't all Chick-fil-A
Well, you can get other things from there, but you know what?
Or the Popeyes chicken sandwich. You talking about the Popeyes chicken sandwich?
Oh, I'm gonna get there too. So I was hoping you'd had both of them. Have you had like the Chick-fil-A and the Popeye chicken sandwich?
I've had, I believe I've had the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. I've had a chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A.
No.
But the Popeyes chicken sandwich is fire. I'm not gonna tell you which one's better. I can't give you I can't give you that, but I haven't eaten the chicken. I've eaten a couple though. I'm pretty sure it was like a couple bucks. It's like $4 for a chicken sandwich.
Right.
I mean, you can't really go wrong. I don't know which one is better though. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in a long time. Anytime I drive past Chick-fil-A, the line is outrageous. I don't have time to stop.
That's facts. Let me say
outrageous. On 22, there's a Chick-fil-A on 22. That's the only one I ever really passed. Always packed.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
My little cheat code is I order through the app and I just walk up to the door and usually it's ready right away. And so I just walk in and out with that.
Next episode, I'm gonna have a Chick-fil-A sandwich and a Popeye sandwich here. And I'm gonna try it and I'll give you an answer.
I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you to that. So next episode we doing that. I want your honest because I know what I think is better. But I'm not about to tell you.
Don't tell me yet.
Yeah,
I have an idea which one you think is better, but don't tell me. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion.
All right, I appreciate that.
That's perfect. We get that on live whenever you had a sandwich. We'll get it on live, and we could all discuss. Matter of fact, we could all get the sandwiches on live and eat it.
Yeah.
Say no more. Yo, let's set it up. I'm a sucker for a chicken sandwich, but I know which one is better. So, all right, we'll talk about it.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So you mentioned you're not really on social media like that. You don't really watch TV like that. So it seems like you're one of the people that's big on being present in the moment. Are you an avid reader?
I'm an avid reader. I haven't been able to read as much as I would like recently just because of my schedule. But yeah, I'm an avid reader. I'm an avid studier. I've been called a nerd. I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I definitely do believe in continued education. Go learn something. Do be present. It's something that I've had to relearn. I did at some point get consumed with social media to the point where I deleted all my social media when I went to Spain because I wanted to be present in Spain. I didn't want to be on my phone in the United States watching all my friends what they're doing when I'm in Spain trying to live my life and have my own experience. I didn't want to, be out there trying to catch a picture and really miss the beauty of what was going on, which I could have easily done because I was on Instagram doing that all the time. And I saw how many hours I was, they do their little screen time. I saw the amount of hours and I'm like, yo, I did all this. I graduated school, 2 degrees, 4 years, play basketball, this and that. And I was on Instagram that much. So when I decided that I would go to Spain and learn Spanish. And in 7 months, I learned Spanish. Instead of going on Instagram, I went on an application called Duolingo. And in 7 months, I learned Spanish. And now I can have a conversation in Spanish. I'm not a natural, it's not my native tongue, but, anyone who hears me doesn't believe that I was only there for 7 months. So, yeah.
That's dope.
So, that's why I believe in reading. I believe in studying. So, for sure.
That's, again, very Kobe-esque. Very Kobe-esque.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I take that as a compliment.
So since you're an avid reader, give us 3 books that you would suggest every person reads.
Okay. All right. I guess you caught me here. Solality by Naomi Johnson. I suggest that everybody reads that. Make Change by Sean King. And let's see. Escondido en tus ojos, which is a book in Spanish, which is what's hidden in your eyes. And that's like the book I'm reading now, so that's all I could give you.
That sounded pretty good.
Thank you.
It gave me flashbacks of Spanish class. My teacher.
Spanish class, yes, good. I'm glad I give you Spanish class vibes.
Okay, so who are your 5 favorite players? NBA, WNBA, college. Who are your 5 favorite players?
Okay. I would say I love Kyrie. I also love Ariel Atkins. I love Tiffany Mitchell. I love who else? I mean, I wouldn't say I love Kobe. I wouldn't, I'm a fan of LeBron. He's not one of my favorites. I don't know if I put him in top 5, but he is amazing. He's a great player. Obviously, I can't take that away from him. And how many did I just mention? 4? I would say, Candace Parker, Skylar Diggins. She's a lefty. Odyssey Sims. She's a lefty. Like, so I'm a lefty. So I love lefties.
Lefty gang. I'm a lefty too.
I guess I'm the odd man out then in this conversation. We got 2 lefties on the show right now, and I'm the righty.
Oh, wow. Okay, fellow lefty. I see
Fellow
you.
lefty. I knew it when I
Left-handed bandit.
Left-handed bandit. That's what I was.
Bandit.
We got films, okay.
Okay, so 2 more.
Okay.
If you were on an island, stranded, what are 3 things that you couldn't live without?
Well, I would take my Bible. I need my Bible. Some food. Does that count? Does that count as something? Food.
Ooh, yep, 2.
And a comfortable bed.
Comfortable bed.
Facts.
All right, I said 2. Matter of fact, it's 2 more now. This since you just mentioned it again. 2 more questions. Favorite scripture?
My favorite scripture would have to be, "Blessed are those who hunger and seek for righteousness, for they shall be filled." But I have a few. "The meek shall inherit the earth," which is somebody who's so humble to the point where it's actually strength. Some people see, Christianity and things like that as being weak, but really it's ultimate vulnerability, and that takes a lot of strength. A lot of people can't handle that. So there's a lot of different scriptures that I love. I can't really pinpoint the one that I love the most.
For those who's listening, that's the Beatitude she just touched on right there.
Yes. Okay.
That's in Matthew, I believe, chapter 11. So check it out when y'all get a chance.
Matthew 5.
Matthew 5.
Beatitude. Matthew 5. Yes, sir.
So, last question. 5 people, dead or alive, that you would have at your dinner table. You love to eat. So 5 people that you're bringing together, dead or alive, to come eat a meal with Alexandria Kerr.
Whoa, okay. Alive, I would have to say my dad is definitely going to have to be at that meal. I could bring Jesus back to life. I'm bringing Jesus there. I'm taking all the knowledge. We knew that. Let's see. Who else would I have at the table? MLK. I'd love to have Martin Luther King there. Bob Marley. And let's say, I would like to, my grandma. I had never met my grandma, my dad's mom. So I would have liked to have her at the table too. But also all my loved ones, I would love for them to at least be in the room.
Hey, that's a pretty dope table right there. I think that table is pretty cool right there. And if you bring Jesus back, he probably bring a whole nice set of people right there too that's gonna be in the room to come watch. So
exactly. That'd be a whole lot of people. No social distancing. So
facts. You bring Jesus to the table, you ain't gotta worry about food though. Just bring 2 loaves, 5 fish.
Facts.
That's all I'm saying though.
He'll bring everybody gonna eat. Bring the water.
Everybody gonna eat. Bring the water to the table, right? Turn it to wine. We're good. He liked to have a good time, by the way. People don't know that Jesus was going to the weddings. He was turning water into wine. He went to have a good time, enjoy time with people. Yeah.
Exactly. So that would be a fun table right there. But Again, thank you so much for hopping on for this episode. For those who don't know, make sure that you subscribe, like. This will be on all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it's Apple, it's Google, it's Anchor, it's Breaker, wherever you listen to your podcast. It's also will be on YouTube under Still Not Worried Studios YouTube channel. Subscribe to them also. But if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for having me. I love you guys. This is so much fun.
No, this is please come back around. Maybe we're gonna have to have this chicken sandwich discussion. We're gonna have to talk.
It's actually something we got to do. You got to hold me to that.
I take this very seriously, as you can see. I'm a chicken sandwich connoisseur.
Yes, I saw that. So we got to do it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Good night.